So guys, this video will show you how to add some snow to your scene. It's a very similar process to the rain effect which we added in the last video. So let's get started. What I'm going to do first is select the part of the timeline which I'm going to divide, and I'm going to do roughly the middle of this rain scene here. So if I get this about here, that's fine. Now if I press Command Shift and A, that will deselect all layers, so it means I'm not selecting a specific layer. And the reason I do that is so that when I press Command Shift and D, it duplicates all of these layers individually so that I can edit them individually in my now separate scene. As you can see, it's still the same for now, but we've got this part here to work with, and we'll make a bit of a winter scene out of this one. So first of all, I'm going to select the original footage, which is this bottom layer here. I'll have that selected there, like that, yeah. And if I go to layer and new, and I'm going to add a new adjustment layer, and that should add itself on top of the layer that I had selected. Now, an adjustment layer is just an empty layer in which we can add effects to, and it won't add it specifically over one of your existing layers. So if you want to delete that or modify that specifically, it just adds it here. So we've got a separate adjustment layer here. Now, something that you're going to be using a lot of over the next few lessons is this effects and presets. We may have already started with that. So let's search for tint, and I'm going to drag that on, this bottom one, onto this new adjustment layer. And it kind of takes the color away. That's what we want. And now I want the curves, and I'll drag this on also. The curves gives you this graph here, or this tool, and what this does towards the left hand side is more your shadows and dark colors, and the right is the brighter colors. As you can see, this affects more of the sky. You can see this is only affecting the brighter colors there. What I want to do with this, I just want to bring this right up. I'm probably best moving this forward so I can see the grass more. I'm just going to whack this right up to add a lot of white into there. And this may be blown out, but I'm going to fix this in a second. So we bring that up, that's great. Next step is, let's duplicate this original layer here, Command and D, and that will just duplicate that there. Not Command Shift D, because we don't want it to split it. And I'll drag this on top of the adjustment layer. Now what I need to do, as you can see, part of this image are blown out here and it doesn't look really professional. So I want the white, which is on the grass and which is on the bushes here, on the plants. But I don't want it to be this blown out here. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this layer selected, I'm going to double click it. Now there's a tool that we can use. We do have to go back to the beginning of the scene, and it's this tool here. It's called the Roto brush. If we select this, we can select a part of our scene really quickly just by dragging over it. Very similar to what you can do in Photoshop. And I'm going to zoom out just so I can check that I've got it all. And what you can do, if you just press play on that and let it run through while it processes, and you may need to drag this part here at the bottom. And just let that play through. And this will automatically select and mask this part of the scene for us. And I'll show you why we're doing that once this completes. Just let that run through to the end there. And then if I go back to my composition layer, I need to select this. If I go back to my composition layer, you can see that it's just selected the building. It did select the part of the grass here as well. I won't worry about that for now. Now, the reason I've done that is because I want to edit this separately. I don't want too much curve. I don't want it to be too bright like the rest of the one. So I'm going to add the tint to it again, like I did with the last layer. And I'm going to add the curves to it as well. Drop it on there. And I can blow this out and make it nice and bright again, but just not too much this time. Because I want this one to, I at least want that we can see the outline of the building. So that's fine. Looks a little bit different. A little bit better. And just to highlight the difference to you, if I erase that, that's how it did look when it was all blown out. It doesn't look good. So with that, we can see the building better. Just ignore this black part for now. Something I forgot to do, and I'll do that now, is I need to delete this rain in this part of the scene here. So I'm going to go to this video here, the original footage here, and if I scroll down to rainfall, which should be there, I can just press cancel or delete on that, and it will delete. I think I need to delete it on more than one layer, and that should be that, yeah. So the rainfall does stop after we turn to the whiter scene. Now all I need to do is add some snow, and it's the same process as adding rain. There is a snowfall effect here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this to an adjustment layer. So I'm going to select my top layer so that it goes on top of that. Same process, layer, new adjustment layer, and I'm going to drag this so that it starts there with the rest. And I'll add the snow to the reason being, the snow is then on top of everything. It's on top of all the effects, including the graffiti and things like that. You need to do some adjusting because, as you can see, it's really faint. You can barely see it, but that's fine. After Effects lets us add more snowflakes. The size needs to increase significantly. I have it around 10. Variation, I'll get that up there to 50, and just play around with it until it's something that you want. The depth means that some of them will be closer and some of them will appear further away, so we want that quite high as well. And I'm happy to make mine windy as well. Let's see how that looks. So yeah, it's fine. It needs to render before it plays, but it looks a lot better. So yeah, it looks like it's snowing. We've whitened out most of our scene. You can take a lot more care than I have. I'm trying to go through this quickly. And just one more thing that I want to add, just let's see how this looks when it's playing normally. So we've got our rain, our lightning, and our snow. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, you can even make the snow bigger and more dense if you want. Okay. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do, in my project files here, I dragged in a green screen video of two snowmen. I'm going to show you how to stick that in there as well. You can find different green screen footage, of course, if you want, but this is the one I'm going to use right now. So we need to track this so that it stays in the same place. So as a reminder, I'm going to go back to the original video, and if I go to the effects and click on camera tracker, it's already done, so I already get my points. If this doesn't appear, just go to window, click on tracker again, track it, click on track again, but then if you just click on 3D camera tracker instead of analyze, you should have the points that you had from earlier. And I'm going to stick these two snowmen on the floor. If I can find a place, there will do. It's the same process. Create solid. And I'm going to drag that image into here. Great. Let me just check if it's the right one. Yeah, that's fine. Fit this in it. It does kind of cut off there. That's not ideal, but again, this is just an example. Okay, so it's there somewhere. I'm going to make it bigger so that I can see it. So the drop down is transform box. I've got scale here. Make it bigger so that I can see it. I'm going to rotate it. Great. Now, if I go back to the other layer, what I can do is I need to get rid of this green. Now you can do this with any green screen footage. We just search for key, and you've got many keying options. One that I recommend, you can use key light. If we drag this on, all you need to do with this, it says screen color. Press the pen and select the green, and it will get rid of it. What I'm going to do is, because sometimes it leaves a border, which you can see in the video, I'll give you an example. It's not what we want. As you can see, we've got this border here. Don't really want that. So let's go back to here. If you change this to status, you can see what it's leaving. You can see all this gray here. So what I will do with that is change the screen green until this fills out. And that should be enough. Change this back to final result. And then when we go here, you'll notice that it hasn't really got that border anymore, and that's fine, that's great. Let's just check it. Of course, we don't want it in this part of the image, so I'm going to drag this all the way over to our snow scene, which starts around about there. And there's our two little snowmen. Some color correction is definitely needed. And you remember how to do that. Hue and saturation first. Drag this on top, because it's definitely a lot more saturated than the rest of the image. So I'm going to bring that right down. Doesn't have to be all the way. We need a little bit of color in there. I'm going to bring the brightness down a little bit. And that should do it. Kind of fits okay. The opacity, we don't really need to change that. And now we've got two little snowmen in our scene. It's going to render really slowly at first, as you know. But you can see they fit, they stay still, and it goes with the scene. And there he goes, he throws the snowball. Great.